Are you a witch? I know that that's a very blunt and direct question, but I'm going to ask you all again. Are you a witch? I need you all to understand that when it comes to the spirit of witchcraft, it is not always someone who is burning sage. It is not always someone who is using crystals. It is not always someone who are speaking word curses and incantations. It is not always someone who are dealing and flipping tarot cards. Now, those things I just named are very real and they are very prevalent in these modern times. However, a witch can simply be someone who is controlling of others. A witch can be someone who is a master or just a manipulator, period. I'm talking about this topic today because I want to break down to you the different levels and departments of witchcraft. And I'm going to start off by telling you, if you are a man or a woman, for whatever you feel your personal reason is to control others, if you do not get delivered and repent from being a very controlling person, you will get dealt with by God. Anytime you are doing certain things, setting, plotting, planning, and scheming certain things to take somebody out of what their personal will be, and you want to put them in a position where they go against their personal will or desire, and you make threats, you use intimidation, you use your sexuality, which is another form of witchcraft, and it falls in the level of seduction, or or you use money. You, ma'am or sir, are a witch. Many people are walking around and they are witches, or they're dabbling in witchcraft, some unknowingly, but some knowingly. And they don't recognize or realize that they are a witch because of the fact they want to control and dominate other people. Let me take it to family. There are certain family members that you may have, and they operate in a spirit of witchcraft. If you have a family member that feels like you owe them to tell them your personal information and life because you are simply blood related, and if you refuse to give them information, they begin to call you out of your name or slander you, then you probably have someone who is considered a witch. It could be the elder in the family. It could be your very mother. It could be your father. It could be one of your grandparents. It could be one of your cousins. It could be a sibling. It can be an auntie or uncle or an elder in your family. If you have someone in your family that will turn other family members against you because they have a personal issue and vendetta with you for whatever the reason is, that is a form of witchcraft. I need you all to understand this. Nobody out here on the face of the earth has the right to turn others against you because you won't do what they say or give them what they want. And if you're guilty of trying to force someone to do something out of their will, or you want to bribe someone or take advantage of someone's vulnerability because there's a particular thing you want from them, then you again, ma'am or sir, are a witch or you're practicing witchcraft. I want you all to start searching yourself. It's time to take a trip inside of yourself and ask yourself, am I a witch? Have I been a witch? Am I unknowingly a part of heavy manipulation? Am I upset and angry? Or am I jealous of the fact that I see how somebody can freely be a certain way with somebody else, but they're not that way with me, and I desire that? So now I'm going to threaten them and tell them, if you don't call me, I'm going to tell your husband you did this. If you don't call me, I'm going to tell your wife you did this. There may be a grandparent that uses witchcraft on their grandchild. And they will tell that grandchild or grandchildren, you don't have to listen to your mother. You don't have to listen to your father. If they try to yell at you or curse at you because you acted bad in school or they're punishing you, come and tell me. I'll take care of it. You can come and live with me. You all need to understand these are very real scenarios that play out. And somebody has to tell you all the truth. You can be operating in that spirit and not know it. You all, and I say this in love, let people naturally do what it is or show you who they are without you forcing them to be who you want them to be, or without forcing them to give you what you feel you deserve or you desire. Let people just naturally gravitate towards you. Let people naturally be who they are without you playing a game with them. I gave you all examples of how people are witches in families. Now let me take it to married couples. You could be using witchcraft on your husband or your wife and you not recognize it. One of the main things that a lot of couples go through is sexual manipulation. You might be the type of man or woman who sexually manipulates your husband or your wife because they are coming at you about your bad behavior concerning something. It could be your behavior and your treatment of them on a day-to-day basis. Maybe you are the type of husband and wife or wife where you curse out your spouse when they make you mad. Maybe you're the type of spouse you don't help with your child. Maybe you're the type of spouse you spend a lot of time with your friends, but you don't spend a lot of time with your spouse, and they are confronting you about that. Maybe there's an issue within the marriage and you were caught cheating and you are threatening to leave your husband or your wife. And so they will sexually manipulate you by all of a sudden going out of their way to do all the things you want them to do to you intimately in order to control you. You may not be the type of husband or wife who will just listen to your spouse tell you what they want you to do to them in an intimate setting. It doesn't always have to be physical. You all got to understand, intimacy is not always the physical part. You may have a spouse that wants you to compliment them more. You may have a spouse that wants you to surprise them more, or buy them roses, or cook them a nice dinner, or pay more attention to them, or when they get their hair done or cut a certain way or get a new outfit, they want you to take notice to the effort they're putting in to look good for you. That's just an example. Another form of manipulation is if you are a married man or woman and you threaten to cheat on your spouse because they won't do a certain sexual act. You, ma'am or sir, are possibly a witch. How dare any married person control their spouse that they married and say that they love to the point of, if they are uncomfortable doing a certain intimate act, you threaten them. You threaten them and say, this is why I'm going to cheat on you. So-and-so would do this. You start comparing your spouse to an outside man or woman, and you want to evoke them to jealousy. You want to evoke anger in them. You want to put fear in them. You are trying to control them to get what you want sexually. This is also a form of witchcraft. You're using control, you're using fear, you are using manipulation. I want you all to also understand, friends will be witches. Anytime you have a friend and you're in a relationship with them and they get upset or jealous because you have other friends outside of them and they are constantly comparing your interaction with them, or they come to you and say, well, I'm going to stop calling you. I'm going to stop hanging around you because you talk to and you hang with so-and-so. That, ma'am or sir, is also a form of manipulation. I need you all to know this. I need you all to understand this. Your friends have a right to have other friends outside of you. Your friends have a right to not tell you all of their secrets or all of their personal information. It doesn't mean that they don't love you. It doesn't mean that they don't trust you. I need you all to understand that in a friendship, some people are just uncomfortable and they might be a little bit embarrassed to come to you about certain matters. So if you got wind of an issue that your friend is having in their personal, private life, and you feel like, well, he or she didn't tell me, but I've been best friends with them for 20 or 30 years. Don't always take situations like this personal. If you are connected to that friend, if you have a prayer life, if you have the gift of discernment, for those of you who are in the kingdom, these are different ways that you can handle these situations, and you don't have to use manipulation. You don't have to use control. You don't have to use threats. You all need to know, and I'm exposing the enemy when I tell you all that witchcraft is rampant in the kingdom of God, in friendships, and in families, and in married couples. But a lot of people don't recognize it. Some of you all might even think it's cute when you see a jealous boyfriend or girlfriend who wants all of your time. Some of you all may think it's cute when some of your friends go hard and say, well, I want you to be with me. Tell so-and-so you're not going to hang out with them today. And I've seen this in friendships of all ages. Because see, I don't want you all to think that the younger people go through this. I don't want you all to just think middle-aged people go through this. I don't want you all to think just older people go through this. Manipulation and control is just what it is. It has no age on it. It has no face on it. Let your friends be who they are. Your friends don't have a right to tell your business to other people. They don't have a right to allow other people to mistreat you or dog you out. That can be a deal breaker. However, if you are that controlling friend that wants to control your friend's whereabouts, you want them to tell you every move they're making. You want them to tell you when you go get a new apartment, or when you go and get a new house, or when you go and buy a new car, or when you start dating somebody, or when you fall in love, or when you made a mistake and you fail. And if they don't, but you find out from another person, you threaten to cut them off as a friend. You call them a fake or phony friend. You try to make them afraid of losing you because you can't have your way with them. You might be a witch. You might be operating in a spirit of witchcraft. So we've talked about friends. We've talked about family. We've talked a little bit about married couples. Let me take it to the church. There is witchcraft in the church. Now, see, I'm not going to address the pink elephant and the crocodile in the room. We already know that actual witches that are at very high-ranking levels come into the church. We know this. If you are a leader, or you've been a leader, or if you are an active member in a church setting, you already know, if you have a prophetic gift or a gift of discernment, you will know that there are witches that come in services and they watch the service. They study the man of God. They study the woman of God. They look at the people that are in the congregation. They speak incantations over the church. They pray prayers. They fast against the church. They do all types of spells on that church when they know that the real authentic power of God is there, or they know that the real prophetic is in that house. However, if you are a leader, if you are a man or woman of God, and you are intentionally holding back sons and daughters, you don't want to train them, you don't want to teach them, you don't want to obey God when God has told you to elevate a particular son or daughter to the prophetic office, or to a minister, or to a prayer warrior, or to a deacon, or to a deaconess, or to any auxiliary. If this fits you, if you know God has been dealing with you about that particular son or daughter, and you are refusing to work with them and teach them and train them because you want to have the control over them. You want to navigate their gift and you want their gift utilized for your personal benefit, meaning instead of teaching and training them and sending them out where they can start their own ministry or where they can be with other people who will teach and train them, and you give your blessing and your love, you'll say, well, I'm going to hold back. I'm not going to teach them anything. I'm not going to train them on anything because they're my member. I see, I don't want them getting big. And then when I teach them and train them and I send them out to go preach and teach or sing or do whatever they're doing at other ministries, they end up not coming back here to me. I need you to understand, as pastors, as apostles, as bishops, whoever you are, if you're guilty of this, please understand that you trying to intimidate and control God's children because you are insecure or you are intimidated or you are disobedient or you want their gifts in operation in your ministry only, or you want them subjected to you only. You, ma'am or sir, could be a witch. You could be actively in witchcraft. If I am the only one to speak out on this, then so be it. I am going to expose the enemy when it comes to this. This has to stop. You have no right to control anybody. You have no right to control friendships. You have no right to control your spouse. People in the kingdom do this. Hebrew Israelites, they do it. There's a very high, thick spirit of abuse with a lot of these brothers that I'm seeing who are Hebrew or Black Israelites. Their wives, a lot of them, look very intimidated by the husband. There's a difference when you see a wife that reveres her husband in that group, because that's what I'm talking about now. It can happen, period, in a married couple a married couple, but I'm talking about the Hebrew and Black Israelites. It's a difference between that woman revering her husband and just outright being scared. There's a very, very high spirit of abuse within those camps. And I see it, and it's very clear. You all need to hear the truth about the spirit of witchcraft. And if you are controlling anybody, again, to get your way, and when you cannot get certain information, when somebody doesn't give you what you want, when somebody doesn't do what you want, you are a witch. It's not always obvious. It's not always this person is just evil and they doing spells and things of that nature. Control, manipulation, intentionally making people fear you, that is a form of witchcraft. Before I close out, let me take it to this next level. In the workplace, there can be witchcraft. Your boss can be a witch. Your team lead could be a witch. Various people in higher positions at the job. If you are in a workplace now and you are a normal, regular employee and you have a boss who threatens to fire you, threatens to dock your pay, threatens to write you up, or they threaten to cut your hours down because you're too tired to come in on the weekend and work. You're too tired to come in and work on your off day. You're too tired to stay after work to work a little bit longer. You, ma'am or sir, are under a spirit or a level of witchcraft. Or if you are the team lead or the boss or the manager or the supervisor and you are treating your employees like this, you, ma'am or sir, are using a form of witchcraft. You are guilty of it. You have no right to tell any man or woman that they cannot go home to tend to their spouse or their sick child. You have no right as a boss to tell your employees that they can't take a personal day if they don't feel good or if they have to go to a doctor's appointment. You don't have the right to make a threat to somebody and tell them you're going to take their source of income from them because they didn't want to stay after work an extra 30 or 40 minutes. Nobody talks about this. Some probably do. But I wanted to give very intricate details to the different levels of witchcraft and let you all know that when you see it, it's not always obvious. It goes on in certain marriages. It goes on in certain camps. It goes on in certain friendships. It goes on in families, heavily in families. I'm getting a lot of that from families. And it goes on in the workplace. But where you all will put labels on these people who are very controlling, highly manipulative, or as I like to call them, master manipulators, and they love to dominate. They love to take advantage. There are certain people out here, they love to take advantage and try to single-handedly destroy anybody who is in a vulnerable position to get what they want out of them. It's plain witchcraft. If you are walking in the spirit of offense and nobody can correct you when you're wrong, and you feel like you are above somebody correcting you or telling you you made an error in something, you, ma'am or sir, are possibly a witch, or you are operating in a form of witchcraft. I had to tell you all the truth. There is still hope for those of you who have grown so accustomed to conducting yourself this way and being this way, and nobody has corrected you on it. And do you know what the hope is? The hope is in the Lord. I'm telling you all today that God is the one that can heal you and deliver you from a spirit of witchcraft and from a spirit of being manipulative and controlling in different scenarios and areas of your life. There are a lot of insecure, jealous-spirited, and intimidated people who take on the spirit of witchcraft and control. A lot of witches and a lot of people who are practicing a form, knowingly or unknowingly, of witchcraft, they have a fear. There is a fear within them, a fear of people walking away from them, a fear of people not really loving them. There's a lot of insecurities in that person, which is why a lot of witches, they won't control. They don't want certain things to go forward. Certain family members don't want to see you go forward. They don't want to see you do good. It could be younger cousins and you're older, and they have zero respect for you because they see something in you that you've been able to do and accomplish, but they haven't. So they will try to control you because you may be in a situation where you're vulnerable. Trust me, I've experienced it. If that particular cousin or family member has to help you, or they had to give you a lending hand, but they know you're vulnerable financially, they know it's something going on, they may try to take control and threaten you and say, well, if you don't do this, if you don't do that, I'm going to do this, or I am going to do that, or I am going to tell this, or I am going to tell that. If any one of you all don't understand if you're under a spirit of witchcraft or manipulation, look in your life and look at who is trying to control you. Look at your work situation. Look at your family dynamic. Look at your marriage. Look at somebody you're dating. Look at how you are being treated in the church. Anybody that is connected to you or in your life and they are trying to control where you go, how you dress, how you walk, how you talk, how you think, or they want something from you that you're not willing to give, pay attention to that. That is going to tell you, this person is giving me witchy vibes. This person is real controlling. This person is very manipulative. I want you all to start paying attention to that. And those of you who will openly admit it, you don't have to come here and admit it, but secretly, if you know that this is you and you have an issue with controlling people, you like to dominate people, you like to be the top dog, you like to have the power. You want to be the most powerful man or woman in the room or in every situation. You love the fact, you thrive off the fact that people fear you. You use your money. You use your body. Because people, these demons are out here walking around. They will use their beauty. They will use their sexuality. They will use their body to manipulate others, to seduce others, because they have an agenda. They have a motive. And a lot of you all, you fall prey to this because you are, again, left open and vulnerable. And every time a feeling comes over you, a lot of you all acquiesce to it instead of fighting against it and putting it on the altar of God. That's the video message. Again, I say, God is a redeemer. God is full of abundant grace, mercy, love, and forgiveness. If you are guilty of what I spoke about today, the throne room is available for you. Put it at God's feet. God will not hold it against you. God will transform you and turn your life around. But do you believe that? Do you receive it? Are you willing to do what it takes to strip this part of your character and your spirit and your heart off of you? That is the video message. Well, guys, it's time for me to go because I have some other things to do. The Lord willing, I will be back with another video message. If any one of you have taken offense to anything I spoke about in this video message, it's okay. It's all right. I'm not worried about it. I am not concerned because I know you will forgive me in the morning.